So we rewrite this hyperbola in HK form and then calculate the following values. I know this is a hyperbola one of two ways. One, I see that my coefficient on y squared and x squared are different than each other, so I know it's not going to wind up being a circle. And since there's subtraction in front of the x squared, I'm expecting after completing their squared for there to be a subtraction of the y's and x's, giving me a hyperbola as opposed to an ellipse. So I'm going to start by pulling all the y's to the same location and factoring out the coefficient of y squared. So that's going to be 16 times y squared plus 1y. And I'll leave myself enough space in order to complete the square. I'll be subtracting 36 times, we'll do the same thing, factoring with the x values, x squared minus 3x, leaving myself, again, space to complete the square, and I'll pull the 221 to the other side. With our y's, the coefficient of y is 1. That divided by 2 squared is 1/4. So I'll add 1/4 in there. And then keeping in mind the 16 so that I add 4 to both sides of my equation. With the x values, 3 over 2 squared, that's 9/4, becomes positive when we square it. Here, we need to keep in mind there's a negative 36 in front, and the negative matters because putting a 9/4 there is the same as when we multiply those, subtracting 81 from both sides. So that's a key idea there, that it should be negative. Let's rewrite this in factored form. So 16 times y plus 1/2 squared minus 36 x minus 3/2 squared equals, we'll combine all these to get 144. And the last step is to divide both sides by 144 to set this equal to 1. That'll also set up the fractions we're used to, y plus 1/2 squared over 9 minus x minus 3/2 squared over 4 is equal to 1. And we've done our first part, we've got our equation. In addition to that, we can go ahead and just quickly calculate a, b, and c. A is going to be equal to 2, b is equal to 3, and c is going to be equal to the square root of b squared plus a squared, or the square root of 13. And those values are going to help us to answer all of the following questions. It's also important to note that since it is our y terms minus our x terms, we know that this is going to open vertically. That is important because now we know that our vertices will be located above and below the center, as well as our foci. They'll be above and below the center, not horizontal left and right. So we'll calculate the center. That's easy. We pull that from our equation. It is 3/2 comma negative 1/2. B represents the vertical distance between the center and the vertices. So our vertices are going to be 3/2, comma, 3 above negative 1/2 is 5/2, and 3/2 below is going to be negative 7/2. Let's get our asymptotes. The slope for our asymptote, we'll remember, is b over a, or negative b over a, and it goes through the center. And so just using point slope form, y plus 1/2 equals our slope, which is 3 over 2, x minus 3/2. Or using the other slope, y plus 1/2 equals negative 3/2, x minus 3/2. The equations will always be identical except for the opposite slope. Then our foci is our final piece. There they are, our final piece, and they're above by root 13 and below by root 13 the center. So we can write that as 3/2 comma negative 1/2. And I'm just going to make it 1 point by doing plus minus. It can either be plus root 13 or minus root 13 from the center. And we have all of our pieces here.